Hello, my name is Michael Dwyer, and I'm with Rochester Writers. Once again, Rochester Writers and the Rochester Hills Public Library have teamed up to host their annual author fair, now in its third year. We're hosting 20 authors in person at the library in downtown Rochester on Saturday, November 27th from 10 a.m. until 3 p.m. These short videos offer you a chance to meet the 20 authors. And right now, we're talking with Ron Sandison. Hey, Ron, how are you?
Good. I'm having a great time here in Rochester Hills. Wish it was warmer and wish it was more like Florida.
Well, it's fall time and soon it will be winter. So I think you've got a few months to wait before the warm weather hits us. But we were just talking before we got started with the video that we've known each other a while now. And I remember when you were working on your first book ideas and you've got some direction on where to go with that book. Do you want to remind us of the story?
Yeah, so I started out my actual writing career, writing funny stories on my experience working in a psych ward, and I'd read them to my coworkers. They'd help me edit them, and I took them to an agent and on my idea of theology and on mental health. And then as soon as he heard my story about overcoming autism, he said, I want you to write a book on autism. And he said, I'll make it into a national best-selling Christian book. So I spent 1,200 hours, read 100 books, interviewed 50 of the most famous people who work in the autism community and 50 amazing people on the autism spectrum, put a book together. And then Charisma House, the third biggest Christian publisher, picked up the book and then made it into a bestseller. And then from there, I wrote my second book called Thought, Choice, Action on St. Augustine. I got a traditional publisher to pick it up. And then with my third book, before I even had it finished, a big publisher out of Grand Rapids, Kriegel, offered me a contract. So I went to my agent and said, we already got a contract. Here it is. And then I had it published May 25th in Fox Morning Show. Ryan Emmerich had me on Fox Morning Show to present my third book, Views from the Spectrum. And then with COVID and having over 35 events canceled in 6 hours on March 12th, I was able to get my next book almost fully written. I got 9 out of 12 chapters done. I already got the foreword by Dr. Barry, writer of Uniquely Human, A Different Way of Seeing Autism, who sold over 2 million copies. I already got him to do the foreword for my book and a bunch of well-known people to do endorsements. So things have been going good. I made sure that when COVID was coming in, that I didn't allow it to keep me from being less productive, but to be more productive in the areas I could be productive.
Well, that's great. And I just can't believe that you've had so much good success. And it's great that you have. And I know the fourth book will probably be just as successful when it's published. Can you give us a hint about what that's going to be about?
So the fourth book is called Autism and Growth and Transitioning in Adulthood. And it's everything a young adult on an autism spectrum needs to know to be able to become an adult. And I share the stories of 50 amazing people I interviewed on the spectrum. I share bits and pieces of their stories throughout the book. I also have fun activities so they can work in groups to learn those skills. And I have my own personal story throughout the book. And I already interviewed 50 of the top experts in the world on autism, new ones, and then 50 young adults who are on the autism spectrum. And I share stories of people like Tay Anderson from season 3 of Atypical, who's on the spectrum. I interviewed her and share her story. I interviewed a guy named Cody who sold his business for $4 million and he's on the autism spectrum. And I interview them, I gain that information, and then I share it with the young adults on the spectrum so they can apply it to their own lives.
And that's great. So it's a lot of awareness, not only for parents to understand with some of your earlier books, but also for the general public to understand that autism is all around us.
Yes, and what I did too with my book is I created a trilogy. So my first book is A Parent's Guide to Autism, Practical Advice, Biblical Wisdom. So that's when your child's diagnosed as a young child. The second book, Views from the Spectrum, covers the teenage years. And then my third book, Autism, Growth, and Transitioning to Adulthood, finishes up because now it teaches how they can get into adulthood and beyond.
Oh, that's wonderful. I applaud you on all of that. I look forward to seeing you on November 27th in person for the author fair. People can come by. I imagine you'll have all your books at the table.
Yeah, I have all my books, and I'm looking forward to being in person again at the library. It's been a while, but it feels good to be finally able to be out where everyone else is again.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, and we'll see you on the 27th.
See you on the 27th. Thanks so much.